The Fed rate decision is tomorrow, and we have seen the massive buildup that GameStop stock has had alongside sitting on huge call premium. So before we start today's video, I'm going to cover a stock, and then we're going to jump into the overall market and my expectations of what is to occur tomorrow on a huge day, probably the biggest day of the week. Well, actually, definitely the biggest day of the week, and what it means for GameStop as well as the overall market. Watch until the end, like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is the second video I'm uploading today, so it is free to just drop a comment. That is all I ask. Thank you guys so much for the support you show me. I couldn't do this without you. First, we're going to talk about Westbridge Renewable Energy Corp, ticker symbol WEGYD, that is trading in this wedge pattern. And if you are on a separate market, here are the tickers for this stock. Now, really quick, drivers of rising energy power demand, there's tons of them, and renewable energy or electricity demand in general, I should say, is not flat anymore. It's actually on a steady rise, and that is because of AI, electric vehicles, and more modern adoption to larger scale projects that are happening. But if you want to know the list, take a screenshot right here. That is a big reason that this company is now coming up on the radar. But why it's so important to me is it's trading at a $45 million market cap, meaning it can be moved very quickly even by retail investors, and it also has very, very, very low trading volume. Now, Westbridge Renewable Energy Corp is a renewable energy developer. Dude, this is a tongue twister. You guys got to try to say that. Westbridge Renewable Energy Corp is a renewable energy developer. That's the way to do it. They have 10 plus gigawatts pipeline of utility scale solar and battery storage across Canada, US, UK, and Italy. So they have huge projects, and these projects are possibly about to pay out more than their market cap. So one finding can really spark a catalyst for this company, in my humble opinion. Proven monetization model, Georgetown, as well as Sunny Nook. And what's so good about this company is most of these penny stock plays that are trading at $1 might think that they dilute and they have a ton of debt and they're a failing company. But in reality, this company is actually cash rich as well as debt free, which is odd. They're sitting on 37 million. That is Canadian currency. So that is slightly tweaked downward to US dollars. But what that does tell us is they have about half or more than half of their market cap sitting in cash on hand, as well as projects that are already rolled out. They have a hybrid growth strategy: project sales now, royalties midterm, and then recurring long-term cash flow as well. Again, they are valued with very, very low upside. So that is not priced in, as well as all of that cash they are sitting on does not pose a risk to shareholders. So keep this one on your radar. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments down below. And that brings us into GameStop stock as well as rate cuts. Rate cuts are tomorrow, and there are a couple scenarios that I expect to happen and that I will give you. But really quickly, here are the cut estimates: 25 basis point cut. All of these, I'm not going to read them off to you because I don't want to waste your time, are expecting a 0.25 BPS cut. And then some, only a couple, are expecting a 50 BPS rate cut as well. There's a couple of ones that were left out of here as well, I believe. But ultimately, here's what's going to happen with the SPY. I believe the rate decision is at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard tomorrow, so midday. Correct me if I'm wrong on that in the comments down below. But ultimately, today we saw a risk off sort of move in the markets. That sort of same thing we should see tomorrow morning, coming into the middle of the day. In the morning, we should see some risk off. That risk off should take us hypothetically down to about 657.80 to maybe 656.40. Okay, so somewhere in that region, somewhere in the region right here below the most recent support. And then once the rate decision is announced, this is where volatility comes in. And this is only scenario one where we have a spike higher. Keep in mind, both of these scenarios, I expect this to play out. I expect a sell-off early day, no matter what. Does any of this have to happen? No, but I'll explain the implications for GameStop. So I expect the blue to play out no matter what. However, with the green and the red positions that I have right here, this is just kind of to give you guys a better video to look out for, because we have a couple levels that we have drawn out and watched for. 645. And if things get really bad, we talked about SPY even dropping lower. But here's what is likely to happen. So the beginning of the day, sell off, and then when rates are announced, we get a massive spike. Now, why isn't it over there? Why isn't it over when that spike happens? Well, that is because we have Powell that is going to come out. We're going to have people speak, and most of the time, when these people speak, it's going to change the narrative to bullish, or it's going to change the narrative to bearish. So the initial reaction does not have to be the case. Again, don't come at me saying, well, that doesn't have to turn around. It can just continue to rip, and that is very true. However, there are a couple of things I expect. We could also sell off in the beginning of the day and get some volatility up to 660 again, retest, before spiking lower on the SPY, sub 652, and then climbing into the end of the week or into next week, right? I would say end of the week, climbing into Friday, SPY hitting all-time highs. Both of these scenarios show that Monday, September 22nd, the SPY should be back in rebound. It's either going to be rebounding hard, trying to make up its gains that it gave away, or it's going to be ripping hard at all-time highs. Either way, I have a bullish bias on what is going to happen, and I also have a beginning of the day bias as to what's going to happen. Now, I will say that based on Bitcoin's moves right now, the market is showcasing that we are going to get a more bullish move. And this also will be initially better and initially lining up with GameStop's move. That is because we are in this cycle perfectly, which shows major gap ups on Thursday. Okay, if the cycles were to play out to a T, this shows huge gap ups for GameStop on Thursday up to 36.50. Okay, and this could possibly happen on Wednesday. This actually could very well happen tomorrow during the rate decision, where GameStop has a massive squeeze. Now, it doesn't have to be to this degree. A lot of stocks are really moving to 36 that quickly. Well, maybe not, but it very well could be. The cycle is lining up, and it has not changed from what we've been looking for. And this chop trading that we have been in has lined up every single time GameStop has ripped, making this slightly higher high right here that we had drawn out, and then this arrow pointing towards that. Coming into tomorrow, it all lines up coincidentally. We also have a Japanese interest rate decision this week, September 18th to the 19th, 2025. So that actually is going to lead us into the weekend, which will very much so affect the carry trade that Roaring Kitty has been talking about, which affects the swaps on GameStop, in which we see 3 orange arrows right here, where the JP government bonds 10-year yield hit all-time highs, and this is how it correlated to GameStop's chart. We saw in every scenario a pop in the chart from 11.50 all the way up to 17, 18 bucks right here. Then we saw massive moves in the chart, but this initial pop right here, and then we saw this March move leading into a further high, right? All of them led into a further high or so, and coincidentally, the cycle period is lining up on this perfect spot where GameStop has had this little blip up, and then we begin to climb, chop, trade, climb, chop, trade. That is essentially where we are at. Very similar to every other pattern as well. So, lottery stocks, what are you saying? Well, ignoring all the noise, price target is just up. Ignoring all the noise, price target is just up. And until the narrative shifts, that is where my stance will be. Bitcoin, ignoring all the noise, price target just up. Again, doesn't have to play like this. Price target just up. I'm not too worried about anything. I'm excited to see the volatility. And if you want some fun ways to play this, make sure to join the Discord server. It's the top link in the description. But that is what I got for you guys for tonight's video. Make sure to go watch the one I posted earlier. Guys, don't sleep on it. That one is important as well. I love you all. God bless. Lottery Stocks out.